Hopefully this works. Anything else? Yes. This on. Cut coding. Somebody does say something. Okay, that's done. What else do I need to do? I think that's it for prep. Probably eat something. I've been here for 2 hours. I hate to start the day with food, but here for 2 hours, and I just realized I haven't eaten lunch. Getting a water headache. Weather, but also water headache. Let's pop the doors open, and then we'll warm up some food, do a quick lunch, and then yeah, it's raining. Let's go. Okay. And then we can deal with this. The microwave is going. And do this. Let's see. Serious cleaning. Uh-huh. There's some no leakage. It's okay. That'll be easy to clean up. But these things are getting heavy, so we're gonna have to figure out a better way to do it. Um, for the upper cabinet, we're a little bit ways away from that. Measure and slice these doors up. Oh, maybe a corner things. That is. The headache is pretty bad. I don't know what from. It was good this morning, and then Simon said, brilliant. The rest is more problematic than not. My grip strength is gone. Or not. Okay. The worst part about this is that the glass isn't very strong, so I'm worried if I have to put some muscle into it, I will hurt myself. One, and then I'll break the glass. All kind of annoying. I wonder if I messed up my hand, or is it just an old injury? Then we need to figure out if we are ordering anything else, since the small things don't get tariffed. Um, Loophole is going away on May 2nd, so we will need to clear customs by May 2nd, so 3 weeks from now. Because if we're shipping something from China, we want to get it now. There's no way the administration is going to get us a leeway. I think after lunch, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a shopping list of the CNC bits, and then we'll do this. So it's still quiet. Oh god, there's something new. Okay, that's scary. All of those things are shaper based. I think I'm gonna stick to router bits for now. Yeah, one of those days we'll get ourselves a paper. It's gonna be glorious. One of those days. It's that. And then we're back to work. Right. Headphones, so don't juice. So wait. Once. What is okay? I think we're good. Yeah, I need to be sharpening the plane, right? With, maybe trying to catch things. Not much better. Much better. Who the hell is my fence? 10 and 5/16. The magic number. Square this out. Guild CO. Hey, what kind of cabinets are you making? Right now I'm working on a corner cabinet where usually you have a lazy Susan. Um, it's back there. So let me grab the phone so I can actually show you on a different camera. Um, the the cabinet is made out of 18 mil imported birch with a clear UV coat, and the drawers are half or 12 millimeter imported birch with UV coat as well. Let's see if we can get connection. Bam, SIM network, and go. Yes. Good. So that's the cabinet. So usually the corner cabinets, at least in the United States, usually they are 36 by 36 inches, right? So the long side is 36 by 36, and you have a 23 and 3/4 to 24, which is the usual depth of the cabinets. So this one is 24-inch deep, and then supposed to be 36 by 36, but based on the limitations of the client's kitchen, I made this one 34.5 by 34.5, which made this opening about an inch and a half smaller than the usual thing. So, putting doors and actual have a twisty turn Lady Susan was the problem. So I spent about a day and a half making these. These are weirdly shaped soft close undermount drawers. And then to prevent things from falling to the sides, because again this is a corner thing, so the access would be difficult. I've put side walls. This one doesn't close completely. Put side walls here, which makes this wasted space, but it's somewhat. And then the faces are solid maple, 3/4 inch maple. So now I'm just prepping this. And then we're gonna cut it, glue it together, and that's going to go right there on the corners of the faces. Looking like a bent drawer. That's the idea. No, I'm in Hawaii. I'm located in Hawaii, so United States for now. The reason why I'm using imported birch, which comes in in these large sheets, it has a really nice smooth finish is because that was the cheapest material available. Usually cabinets are made out of stuff that looks like this, which is again plywood, but with a maple style finish. So those are that, but those were a lot more expensive. So I get those large sheets, and then the maple comes in those sticks. Are you metric abled, or are you metric abled otherwise, as in what they call freedom units, inches and feet? Because I could probably work around inches to centimeters to make this conversation easier. So you don't have to do back calculations every time. I can just put this together. Okay. Well, if you ever get stuck with a question on on the sizing or numbering, just let me know. I can do the math relatively easily for most of the little things, and so it simplifies the conversation. I'm okay taking the onus of the transformation. But yeah, so this is the thing. The kitchen itself is about 20 cabinets big. So I got tasks I got asked to both design and build. I'm a tiny shop. So, so that was kind of, it's a big deal to get this thing. So I don't know if you have seen my videos before, but I'm standing at the doors. This is my shop. That's all that there is. It's about 470 square feet, ballpark of about 47 square meters. Yeah, high ceilings, but everything else is just here. So all the machinery has to be packed into this kind of tiny space, which makes a big cabinet job somewhat impressive. So the whole thing started with an ask, and then it was the idea behind building it out. So let me see if I have the sketches. So that's the kitchen. You can see from here. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it up here. So that's the kitchen, right? So we have a fridge, the sink, which is kind of limiting where we can do things, and then there's the L shape, and then the rest of the cabinets. And right now I'm working on this corner cabinet here. But I had to just kind of design, guess where the things are, what are the sizes. Again, I'm not a cabinet maker by training. I'm not even close to a woodworker, but my preference is to do slightly different work. But you're a small shop, rent is somewhat. Yeah. I mean, again, if you would like a grand tour, I'm ready. The camera usually moves from one side to the other side depending on where I have space. If you're here for the ASMR, my mic isn't very good about picking that up, and I try to put headphones on a lot so that muffles it because I'm on Bluetooth. But if you're here for just questions or ideas, or you want to throw things around, happy to. When it comes to the cabinet design, the face design, I did two things. One is this is what the face looks like at the end of the day, right? So you have a 1/2 inch or 12 mil undercut around, so I can frame it, and then I have this kind of a cove design on top, which I just got with a large router bit. And that stuff is like this stuff. It's a kind of a big bit. So it just runs these over undercuts. So that's the big things. And then for rails, I have these guys. Again, 3/4 of an inch with a quarter on top, quarter on the bottom. About 18 mil, 6.6, and then 16 mil. The only thing I did different is I had the top cut down a little bit shorter, and this is so. First of all, this doesn't interfere with the bottom because it starts going up. And second one is I have it so there's a bit more reveal because when we get down to the smallest drawers, I have decided that the smallest drawers will have a 6-inch face and then calculate everything back. And this, if we just got really close, this would have been really, really close and kind of cramped. So I wanted to give as much space in the middle. Um, Also, these rails are a bit smaller than usual. On the back side, there are 1 7/8. On the front, there are 1 3/4, just over. And they're usually like 2 1/8 or 1/4. So these are slimmer than usual. But that leaves me on a 6-inch face. That leaves me with an 1.75 on top, 3.75 on the bottom, and a 2.5-inch reveal in the middle, which kind of opens it up in proportion. And then miters rather than the standard shaker build. So that's it. But yeah, otherwise than that, I don't get too many visitors here from the internet, so I appreciate you stopping by. I try my best to check the chat. Every now and then it does get lonely. YouTube says people do watch me once in a while, but hey, you woodwork? Or you cabinet make, or you thinking about a new hobby? Because woodworking is a hobby. I was on your recommendations. Wow. Okay. I don't think anybody ever stopped by on recommendation. At least like that I know. I don't woodwork, but my dad does. Ah, so you've been around wood. Don't judge me too harsh. I've been in this shop for 447 days. I had this shop open. Before that, I woodworked for money. So, I got paid for my work. Then just doing it as a hobby for about a year and a half before that, maybe a year, depending how you count. So relatively brand new to this endeavor. But I get to do cool things. Like I get to build things, and then I think my biggest accomplishment right now, one that I'm genuinely proud of, is that I get to build stuff when I need for myself. Like building projects for clients and products and whatnot is all nice and dandy, but being able to just go like, I need X tool or I need X solution, and I can provide, I can provide myself a way out of it. So, from very simple things like, building a workbench, which I would assume every single woodworker, or at least I think every single woodworker has done before, where they build a flat table to work on, to rebuilding parts of the jointer or improving machines. Yeah, most people did that. Even building a router table, that's kind of there are nice router tables out there. Limited budget, so that's that. But I started building things that are a bit more complicated, and those have been a huge huge inspiration. Like the table, fixing machines, table, cards, all good. But let me show you the couple of things I'm genuinely proud of as built. One is, I got the whole dust collection. So I got the dust collector in the back, but the rest of it is just HVAC piping for AC, right? So all of these connections, all of the ports, all of the you know running everywhere. So I'm genuinely happy, if not proud of that. That was one. Two is I've made little doodads like this. So a secondary cyclone. So when I'm milling things, running them from the planer or the jointer, it produces a lot of dust and chips. So I have a secondary container here, so it's easier to maneuver rather than having it all the way back in the main collection, because I have to roll up the blue barrel from there and just there's stuff in the way always. So that's one of those. Two is I have this card here, which is kind of nice because it's on a pivot, so I can flip the bottom to the top. It was one of the first things we did to save space. Then I have my vacuum system that I just took apart, put the filter in there, and build a whole compact space. Again, cyclones, I cannot overstate how good cyclones are for separating it. So that was, there's of course cabinets and shelves, stairs, whatever. And then I built this. And I talked about it ad nauseum at this point. I built myself a pocket hole machine. So that was one of those cool things, design the whole thing. But you have the drill bit for pilot hole and the router bit to take out the actual thing. So that was one of those, and it's been a lifesaver. Every cabinet takes at least 30 to 50 pocket screws, and so having a way to make these rather than using drill, the Craig system, so having a pocket hole machine that does this, just a whole row of these everywhere. So that's one of those little things. So that's I think was really cool about the woodworking is that you need a drawer, great. You need two drawers, great. Internal, external drawers, and stuff like that. Again, necessity of small space and limited budget caused me to optimize things like this. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Eh, I'm getting excited. So you get me excited about woodworking. I'm just gonna talk your ear off. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. Yeah, right now I'm in this position where I hurt my wrist moving all those drawers around back and forth. That was yesterday. Now it's just cleaning up glue for now, and then we gotta start cutting it. I need to square these out. They're not perfectly square, so again, I don't know if I didn't clamp them hard enough, and it looks pretty well clamped. Maybe there's some variance in how the wood is, because these railheads have been outside for a while. There's some imperfections, so I'm gonna have to re-square it, and then we can cut the 45 miter and put it together, and hopefully it works. I don't know if it does, because I haven't done this type of drawer fronts before. I built a small cabinet style thing, like a box with drawers before. I haven't built like kitchen cabinets ever, so the kitchen cabinets isn't how kitchens are. Yeah. Quite lovely. That sounds like Oxford English. I think, I don't know. Well, it is quite lovely. It's Oxford English, really. Maybe British, maybe British, but maybe Scottish, maybe Canadian. Oh, you gave yourself RSI by moving cabinets. I don't know what RSI is. Um, I got something right here in my wrist, which made my wrist look swollen, and it's painful to move around. Mostly because I'm relatively strong for my size, which means that I tend to overestimate how much things weigh. So I tend to pick up things with one hand and whatnot. And once you start doing that to, you know, plywood or plywood constructions, the weight adds up very quickly without you realizing that. Plus, I have to move those large sheets of plywood. Our repair is checking. Yeah, I mean, again, could be that it's coming from my childhood where I had my wrist broken as a kid and it just didn't set right. Could be a number of things. Again, there's also the whole once you pass 30, your body decides to to increase the difficulty of your life a little bit. Yeah, table with sliders would be nice. Actually, what would make me really happy is a large workbench, uh, say 3 to 4 feet by about 6, so the size of this table, a workbench, which has a jack underneath it, so I can lower it and bring it up. So that would on wheels. So that would be great. Just the problem is I don't have space for it. Like the jointer was the last big acquisition I did, and I barely have space for that when I move things out of the way. So I'm running this problem of space being at an extreme premium. And again, I have most of the tools you would need in a wood shop. I have the jointer, I have a planer, I have a sander belt saw, the bandsaw, a drill press, I have a lathe, I have a decent dust collection table saw, table router, secondary dust collection, bunch of fans. I have a CNC too, so it's like I don't exactly have exactly space, but now having a table cart style table so I can move around, twist it around, and it would be awesome if I could lift it up and push it down. That would have been brilliant. But eh, next place. I keep on telling myself next place. Been here for a year with change, so hopefully in another year and a half, when I get close to the end of the rental agreement, lease agreement, um, I'll get something slightly bigger. I could use another assembly table or a workbench and a finishing table, so I could spray varnishes and leave glue ups overnight. Right now, all of it is kind of done on here and on the table, so which it's not ideal, but yeah, okay. Yeah. The side of strain injury. I'm going to look it up. Yeah. Plus, you gotta move the sheets. The sheet goods are heavy too. Again, right now I have it stacked up. I usually don't have this many sheet goods. Just you know, the project showed up. The, the deposit got handed down, so I bought bunch of sheets of plywood. I don't know if I bought too many. Maybe I bought a couple too many, but then came the whole move this around. And then, again, every now and then I do take a break from working on these cabinets to try to make something pretty, uh, usually out of smaller pieces of wood. So that's exciting, but still, every now and then you gotta go back and pick up where you left off. But yeah, things on a roller. That a sliding table for the table saw would be nice too. like a panel. Got the sheets good down. Again, not a cabinet maker, so at least that's not where I want to end up. There's a bunch of shops that do cabinetry on the island. I'm on Oahu in Hawaii. Um, there's a bunch of shops that do cabinets, and they're fantastic about it. They're very efficient. They have CNCs to cut all the pieces out, and their products look really nice. Um, Pricey, but that is what it is. And I don't think I could do the same thing over and over again. Like have a perfection method of making cabinets and just optimizing it and min-maxing it till you have it perfect. Like that's not what I like to do. I like the process of finding problems which are difficult and uh, and trying to deal with those solutions. Like I had a job where somebody needed a wooden base panel for a fridge, and I had to match the grooves. And it took a month for me to get the different router bits, trying to do the matching the best I could. That was exciting. And then installing it and building it. I like this custom work. Um, yeah, rolling things. I keep on telling myself I need to build myself a workbench somewhere, but space is tight. And again, I cannot really move the table saw from the middle of the room because right now I have about 9 feet clearance past the blade and about 9 feet clearance before the blade. So if I try cutting anything longer than about 9 feet, I bottom out hitting the wall. And most of the wood I get comes in this 9 to 12 foot uh, lumber planks. So gotta cut it down anyway. So I can cut a sheet of plywood, which is great. So I cannot really move this. I could move it to the side, but then I'm running the problem of pushing this to the side. So there's other complications. And again, it's a flat surface, so I can actually lay things out and build things on it. Shouldn't be building things on top of the table, so but when in Rome, I suppose. But the upside is this is second to last cabinet on the ground floor for the main area, and after this I have uh, 5 cabinets, 5 or 6 cabinets, depending how you count, to build for the island, and then I have 4 or 5 cabinets to put on the wall, the floating cabinet. So we are a little over halfway done. Exciting. A little bit of a wiggle. So something got glued at an angle. I must have carved it a little bit too much or something. So what exciting things are you working on? Any cool projects, hobbies, attempts at the impossible, like the immortality creation? I have already gotten a pick place, pick and place machine reassembled. What's a pick and place machine reassembled into my basement? It's about 240 kilograms. Ugh. 240 kilos is no joke for weight. And I'm assuming that because you're taking it apart, it must have been sizable too. Down the stairs is another thing. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what I don't think I know what a pick and place machine is. Bring heavy machinery down the stairs. That's when you have it. Oh, okay. I know, I know what machine it is. Well, I know what type of machine that is. That's fancy. It's a hobby or is it kind of a side job? Electronics is a really cool hobby. Wish I wish I learned more, but never got around to it. Mm. I'm supposed to know some stuff based on my degree, but the actual chemistry part of being a chemical engineer was always more fun than the signaling systems. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool place to be where your hobby that you do because you enjoy is out of some inexplicable reason providing enough funding to keep on fueling the hobby. And those machines, at least when I was at the uni, those machines weren't anywhere near cheap. So if you got half of it paid off already, that's freaking awesome. Congrats. Well, that makes me happy. I, I don't know why. Being being a crafter, after a while you get really excited about other people's successes. Like I really like hearing the stories where somebody goes like, "Yeah, I've done I've done this," and it's working. I got a sweet deal on mine. The pick was 5K. That's a that, yeah, with shipping and taxes. And again, because you asked me about Eurozone, I'm guessing you're in Europe, and shipping across Europe ain't exactly cheap. At least last time I was there, when we had to, buy things for the university, shipping was always the line item that everybody just dreaded. And then obviously taxes. But and you got and you paid half of it off already, so that's awesome. 2.5K made from a hobby is that's 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 really good. Ah, okay. No, yeah, the English is my third language, or at least the third language I learned, so it kind of got stuck there. In that case, you are a very capable person in freedom units, which is great. Simplifies a little bit. Again, I try not to make the assumptions, uh, and I'm trying to make sure that everybody, regardless of where they are located, can follow. Sometimes people do ask about things, and it's like, let me try to convert that into Newton meters squared, Pascal or something like that. Because foot pounds are not. I float between both systems. Like some of them makes more sense now because I've been using it for so long. But I learn for metric. I think that's the flaw of the fact that I ended up getting degrees in sciences, so metric was. And I grew up grew up some of my basic schooling in Europe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Can I pick your brain uh, for a kind of a question? Because if you're doing, component level builds for things, you might know the answer. So I have this. I don't want to sound biblical, but I do have a dust problem. Dust problem, and the dust problem looks the following. Uh, when I start this whole system and it gets loud, I end up you know, getting on a good day. I end up getting chips like this. On a bad day, I end up getting you know dust that is powdery everywhere. And because I have different collection system, I have this for my shop vac. Right? My shop vac has collection number one. This bag came from dust collection that just goes to my jointer and flame. So then I have back here behind my CNC, I have another dust collection, right? Number three. And finally, I have the big guy with the blue barrel. And with the blue barrel, things get away from the cyclone. They get stuck on this 6-foot HEPA filter and collected down there with where the blue white is. And the problem is, every one of those systems gets really problematic when it overfills. Like if this overfills, then the cyclone stops working and then things just go into the filter and clog the filter and push all the dust into the air and I have to breathe it, which is lung cancer. If this gets overfilled, then all the maple chips, right now it's maple chips go into the main dust collection, which means I cannot separate them and give them to people that want to do farming. If my shop vac gets full, it clogs the filter and then you have to clean the shop vac filters. And if you ever worked with a shop vac, you know that the filters are just annoying to clean and so on. I have, let's see, I have here maybe in a different drawer. No, I have it in a different drawer. I have, I'm going to tell you, I have, not here. I have somewhere, I'm not going to embarrass myself and keep on opening the drawers, but I do have somewhere a small IR proximity uh, alert thing image. It looks like a chapstick thing. It has two wires in and out, and the trouble I'm having is I don't know what is the proper way to wire it into a system. So let me grab a piece of paper and I have some answers to my own questions. Just between Reddit and Google, which is getting worse and worse every year when it comes to providing actually accurate information. Um, yeah, I figured I have somebody who has dipped their toe into it, and maybe you can, at least tell me where I can build from, because everybody who has built the system I'm trying to build has done it, and it works, and everybody else is either not touching or you have to buy the stencil. So the idea is, if I have my dust barrel, the dust barrel for the waste, I want to put the little IR proximity sensor, I think those are called proximity sensors, in here. And it's supposed to catch the dust, whatever. It comes with 2 wires. I haven't figured out the voltage. I'm assuming it's somewhere between 3 and 12 volts, whatever. For this to work, I'm assuming this needs a constant input of electricity, right? Which should come from some system. So I have some, voltage going into this based on those 2 wires. Is there a way? I haven't. Again, I tried to track it with a DC power supply and a multimeter. I haven't gotten results I can work with. Is there a way I could connect this to some power supply, some plus and minus power supply, in such a way that if this gets triggered, this black box of sorts interacts with a I don't know if I need some kind of a relay system, or do I put anything for some kind of output? And for the output, I would like to get a blinking light. Very simply, I want to get a blinking light out of it the moment this gets triggered, so I can keep on sewing, and I don't have to go like, have I sewn too much? Do I need to check this? Because the only way for me to find out if this is overfilling is for the dust to actually start building up inside of the cyclone, and by then it's, first of all, way too late for clogging the whole system. Second one is emptying the whole thing gets problematic because you leave the cover and the whole thing just drains everywhere, dust everywhere. So I have this proximity thing here, mounting it, no problem. Building wires, tubing, whatever. This connection of this to some kind of AC adapter or something. Is this? Yeah, something like that. Again, I know that people build these with some kind of fancy board that you get from eBay or AliExpress that has a relay thing, has a transformer. It's all included. I'm okay with not having a transformer built into it because I have enough transformers from old shavers and old things that I can leave it plugged into the wall as long as it doesn't draw too many amps, whatever. So I can power this on. It just, after it's powered, the one I have seems to behave slightly differently than just a regular switch. So I don't know if I need to get a IR sensor that is one of those on-off things, because the ones I have seems to be just sending a little pushback into the line back. And so the question is there a way to work with it? Again, it's a no-name IR sensor. So, or is there I haven't taken it apart, and it's been a couple months since I looked at it. Should I be looking for like a third line? So there's a the power on and some kind of a data line. Like I know that according to my notes, that I made on this when I tried to power it on, there is some change in the signal back between these two, but or is it that all of those IR sensors are on and off based on the proximity, and when it's too close it's on, when it's off, and I just have a bad unit? Apparently with a simple automation stuff. Okay, power ground signal. Okay, which means that this, in theory, should work either with okay. Okay, so if I have a three-prong one, the signal would be high on trigger. Okay, so I'm going to look if there's a. I'm going to find it. First of all, I have to find it somewhere between this shop and our house, and we moved couple 2 years, 3 years ago into a 300 square foot apartment. So, things are just not where they used to be. To be able to. Okay. Okay. So wire power into it, and on the on the out of this wire the light, and I do all of it in series. Right. So let me grab another piece of paper. Okay. This is good. This is good. Again, I know this sounds really simple. The thing is, I tend to lose a lot of time working on a little project like this and IT projects because I always double guess myself because electricity is one thing I just never got around to. Right. So we doing this. We take the thing. We're going to go to the IR sensor. If I have two wires, that would go into a light, and that would go back to the ground. But if I have three, then I have the IR sensor. I get positive ground, and then I have a signal. I have a signal that will go. Let's call it black box for now, and then the ground is going to go here, and the positive is going to go here. Okay. And I remember seeing those in my car. So, okay, so NPN sensor. So we are doing so IR. We have the ground and the electricity going into it. Then the signal will come out, go into the light. Power supply goes into the pizza, and you're stuck. So like, and you called it stuck light. Okay, that's the signal. Okay, so that's that. And you said this is an NPN. Awesome. Yeah, sorry. I know it's small, but what is it? But just notes for myself because now I know what I'm looking for. Okay. And if it's just two lines, the IR sensor for some reason has two lines, just two wires coming out, then I just do kind of a series thing. Would that be a correct assumption? Again, I very much appreciate your time. Sorry for this random question. Just I recently had a problem with overfilling the dust collection, and that was the dust collection is, I think, the most expensive tool in this shop. So I don't want to break it. Okay. Start light. Awesome. Hey, that solves some of my questions. I appreciate that. Okay, now I have to find the sensor and get it to work. Okay. Again, I bought the IR sensor from some, I think, eBay listing a bunch of years ago when I was just tinkering with a breadboard and one resistors. It was not very far past when Radio Shack broke down, so and got and closed down. So it's been a while. Just this idea it's constantly in my head because I need to do a little bit of automation, otherwise I run into problems. So far I have wired the whole shop for electricity. I had a licensed electrician check my work, and they did the breaker box. But my whole shop is wired in the following way. I have two conduits. I have a 220 and a 120, or 208 and 110, and each power box is on a separate breaker. So okay, you're starting to throw specific knowledge at me. For the NPN, you said easy. I have to be careful. Dyslexia is no joke. R31 or E3F DS DS 30C4 30C. Okay, awesome. That's cool. Okay, that solves one of my little side projects. At least I know where to start looking for a thing. Because I'm thinking if I type this online, there will be something between a wiring diagram and somebody going like, "Oh, I recommend this product or that product or this type of wire." So again, I know the mechanical things a little bit better than the electrical ones. I mean, I can rewire a motor, and on my way around that. I can solder small things on, but I start looking at little boards like Arduinos, and I just get lost. ADHD and dyslexia, just without having electronics as a hyper focus gets really tricky. I mean, again, I built a kitted CNC machine before. I've built 3D printers before, most of them from kits. Um, so I do have, you know, I have the big boy, well, medium boy now, but worst, probably all the way down back there. But it's just worst. Uh, my my little, yeah. Let's see if you can. I'm gonna put you down for a second. Oh, yeah. So I do have old CNC and 3D printers around. So yeah, I work my way around things like this. Just a lot of the times it's one of those trial and error versus actually understanding this. I mean, again, chemical engineer, so I should know this stuff, but never got around. The other projects, but this one I know how to do. Um, it's on my list. Is I have a CNC machine, right? And part of the trouble of CNC machine is that spindle or router, exerts a lot of torque and pressure on material, especially if it's not moving fast enough or if the blade gets a little dull. So this is a problem because it's moving so fast. And usually people screw things into it or have some kind of a mounting system to the waistband. What I did is I've built from threaded rods. I built those little vices around. Problem is the screws are not. So I need to get ACME screws, and at some point I want to put stepper motors on the back so I can push a button and have the thing at least twist most of the way there, and then I can readjust. Because right now moving this from all the way back here to up here gets really annoying. I mean, it's great if you have to do repeatable cuts because you just slide it in, tighten it, and then move it, put again. So for repeatable cuts, this is great. It gets problematic when you have to switch things around. So that's another big project. So I want to put actual lead screws in here with a motor in the back, twisting it. I have to figure out if I need to do one motor for each, and then stepper motors are kind of weird for wiring, but they have a decent holding power, so that's that. Or if I'm going to have some kind of a system which tries to close all of them out, and then every time one of those bottoms out, the power gets transferred to the next one. So it's just going to go close. I haven't figured out how to do this yet. Apparently there's a way to wire stepper motors to behave like they're in a closed loop system, where the change of voltage on the coils in the motor could be an indicator on how much force it's exerting. But I read 2 papers about it. I don't understand what I'm doing. So this is another one of those big projects. Yes and no. So I do have this big compressor, but it's really loud. And again, small space, so this is good. And then I have a tiny little guy, not big enough of a tank. I would need to get an outside tank for this to be usable. So I bought this to do just a little, kind of a airbrush touch-up sprays for small projects. So I don't have to, paint everything. So, but air is somewhat limited. This is quiet and very good. I also have, this, but that's super tiny. And then I have the big boy that just is too loud. So, I mean, it works when you need it, but compressed air is a little tricky. Why you ask? Pneumatic vices or pneumatic closing? That would be cool. But don't you need a decent amount of pressure for that, and that does a decent amount of volume? Again, noise is a big concern in the shop. I mean, I don't mind having headphones on for most of the day. The problem is if I have headphones on, I cannot really talk to you guys. And I don't get all this benefit of a refresher on NPN Is- Yeah, space is really. Again, I don't mind doing the mothers. I do have a bunch of stepper mothers. I have a bunch of old Arduinos Uno and Mega, so I have a bunch of those boards. So I should be able to, you know, yeah. And I do have some uh, verbal shields and whatnot. So I should be able to figure out how to do it with a button. It's on my list of things to do. Most of the things are kind of on the list of things to do. Right now, the yes. And while we are talking about this, there's one more thing I want to do is I want to put the a concrete vibrator on my filter stack for my dust collection so I can shake the filters out every now and then. I was trying to reach out for the company to ask them how they did because they used to have a product like this. The problem is the company owners are retiring, so the company's closing. So, I, ooh, such a following. I was thinking that's the photo interrupt. I don't think I never wired one of those. So that's on. I was thinking about a mechanical one, right? So you have right, you have the 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 drive with a spring. When the pressure gets enough, this just buckles back, right, and starts skipping. And when you hear it skipping, you can, I can push a button, release it, and then twist it by hand. And so I was thinking just, have a clutch. Again, mechanical I can control. Electricity I never got around to learning it very well. So, okay. I know my way around, basic wiring things, but so something like this, for example, right? There's a bunch of switches of which motor goes in, right, and how much, and how fast. Yeah, I can work around that. Steppers are a little tricky. The whole programming thing. So when I heard having a machine that does boards for you, that's freaking lit. I mean, I don't know how to do it, so having people, especially in the United States, that know how to do it is freaking awesome. You know, the way I see people who do electronics and know what they're doing is the difference between people building actually functional Teslas and me building a Flintstone car. I mean, don't bash the Flintstone car; it's a fantastic car, but we are in very different worlds. Yours has that glamour about it, at least to me. I can make nice things out of wood, though. That makes me happy. Sorry, I'm getting all hyper about this. This is exciting. Oh, I think my wife is trying to kill me again. So the comment about my wife trying to kill me. I have the worst luck when it comes to things in food, like bones or sand or hard cartilage. And the more people are trying to make sure that the food is absolutely perfect, like there's no sharp things in it, the more I find things. Boneless fish,
I pull out fish bones. You know, fruit that has been washed 5 times over, I bite on a piece of gravel, and so on and so forth. Stew that has only one drumstick of chicken with a bone in it, I get the bone. So, so regardless of how well it's being tried, there's always something. The way I interpret it nowadays is that my wife is thinking about me, making sure I stay on my toes. The most exciting part of that is when you buy fish sticks from a store, those prepackaged, you know, pre-milled fish sticks that just need to be fried for a little bit to be food. I picked out a bone from a fish stick about big. I picked up a fish bone about even. I have no idea how it got through any of the production because the meat's supposed to be kind of shredded and then put into a fish stick. But I peeled a bone. Every time I tell this to somebody, they they laugh and they go like, "Oh, it's impossible," you're making this up. And then they serve dinner or lunch or something, and I start peeling things off. My grandma made fish. She's like, "Oh, it's boneless. There might be a couple of those small fish bones, the soft kind." And she's like, "Oh, there might be a couple, but it's boneless. It was picked through the butchers or the fishermen." Well, she found four. I found 117. I just lined them up around the table, and some of them were big suckers. And she's like, "Where are you picking the bones up? Like, do you have them in your pocket?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know there was fish for dinner. My luck." Of course, the way one could explain it is I spent all my good karma on meeting my wife. So now, yeah, there's no more reloading of surviving meals without getting stabbed by bones or sand or uncooked things. Would make me a very effective food taster. And I genuinely appreciate you helping with the with the bits of information about the sensor. Again, I'm assuming I could have found most of it online if I just this, but I'm having a really hard time filtering this information out in a way that gets me to an answer I can actually do something with it. Between the woodworking forums and the electronic forums and whatnot, the information that there's a learning curve that I found I'm having a hard time getting through, and because there's no dopamine in searching for the right information, my brain just doesn't want to do it. So having somebody who goes like, "Oh yeah, try this model or this or this should go this or you would expect this from whatever," just cuts down the learning curve to the point where I can actually start asking questions about um, about the topic. I found that the same thing kind of operates with learning languages. If you want to start learning language really quickly, get to the point where you can ask about things in that language about that language. So when I learned English, that took me 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks before I got to the point where I could ask about English in English. And after that, the acceleration of knowledge is absolutely fantastic. Once you get to the past the very basics. Again, genuinely appreciate it. And hopefully I will be able to return that favor at some point. Either to you or pass it forward to somebody else. Double it and pass it forward. Double the confusion, pass it forward. I don't. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, this made my day. Mm. Okay, okay. Returning to the tangent, my brain is right now on, is is trying to figure out this following riddle. How do you return a kindness to somebody who has access to higher level of expertise than you do? This is not the first time I'm in this position where I've gotten a piece of information that saves me time, effort, and at the end of the day, money. When you work 70 to 88 hours a week, throwing money at a problem that you try and solve is, or at least could be considered a reasonable approach. How do you return a favor when somebody saves you time, effort, money, and headache when they have access to better resources than you are? Assuming you don't want to. We're not talking about material resources, but kind of information. I had it before where somebody was a carver, and I asked them about some tools and wood and sharpening. Just part of it was banter, part of it was you learn, and you learn from peers that been on this journey before, and preferably more recently than not. It's kind of hard to talk to some folks that have surpassed your level so long ago they don't remember what it was to work for it, right? And so I was talking to this barber, and again, they've been in woodworking business for a lot longer than I was at that time. I was just starting, and they have their own little establishment. They had a shop or they did at home, but they're doing their thing. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Unique, somewhat unique. On YouTube, my viewership is relatively silent and relatively small. But when I used to play video games and do the commentary and streaming for video games, big chunks of the people that watched my channel had a similar approach. But I also know that this is somewhat unique in the regards that a number of people are helpful, but they're willing to be superficially helpful, and after some time there's like a little gatekeeping hill, and it's not because the other person's not showing effort, because it's kind of hard to keep on feeding somebody who's not showing effort, but because I don't know, they worry about their information being too valuable and and detrimental to the world because people know more. My approach to that is there should be more woodworkers. Full stop. Be more woodworkers. Not because I'm so keen on losing my job as a woodworker, because I kind of would like to keep that for a while. But because the more woodworkers there are, the more people are used to woodworking. Thus, the requirement for quality of work is going up. So the more woodworkers there are, the better the quality of workmanship must be, because you have to compete with more people, right? So basic stuff no longer passes muster, and that will force me to be better woodworker. If there's more woodworkers, that will force me to be a better woodworker, which is Which is, I think, a big point in this, where a lot of people are worried that having more woodworkers means that they will get less business and whatnot. It's like if you are either very niche or you're doing a spectacular job, you will never run out of work. Because you're always going to be, more. It's going to have to be more specialized or better quality. Sorry for the banging. Again, this idea of getting into very specifics, and again, my guess, and this is a guess, is that the specifics, NPN transistors that you listed, either you have them memorized, which means that your level of knowledge is high enough to have this information handy, or you actually had to alt tab and look it up, which means that you're spending extra time on providing value, which is a lot more than one could hope for. Very, very appreciate that. Because even if you know where to look, it still takes you a second. Alt tab. Chrome browser has 15 tabs open, so you have to close them. It's slowly loading. You go to Backmaster or whatever the equivalent is for electronics and go like, oh yeah, these are the ones. I'm very cognitive about the fact that sometimes things take a little bit longer. Partially because I've done it before. When I used to work as a chemical engineer, people would ask about problems when they were studying chemistry at the university. I was already graduate by then and working, and people had questions about how do you do something in organic chemistry, and even if it took me some time to look it up, I could look it up, or I could construct a problem. And again, that takes a little bit of time to do. And well, yeah, but that. So again, the argument stands is either you took the time to look it up, which means that your investment is a lot higher than most people will probably realize, or you have that knowledge in your head, which means that your investment is a lot higher than people realize because you have spent time to actually commit it to your memory, or you've been using it for so long, so you have a level of expertise, right? So of course, that can be misinterpreted by a Karen that just starts screaming random numbers at the internet, but that's not where this is going. I think adulting is a struggle. So having somebody who's willing to put extra effort into helping you is just appreciated. What I'm trying to say, in so many words, is thank you. It's probably going to be a hot second before I can get to it because the cabinets or the kitchen cabinets are somewhat a priority. The client just keeps on asking me when they're going to be delivered because it's taking me a while to make. It's about a day we've changed to make a cabinet, especially since the outside. The outside, you have to glue it up and put it together and then cut it down. This one is extra annoying because of the shape, but it is on my list of things to do. Again, small shop. I'm running out of brain space, and ADHD is not very kind to the amount of brain space to begin with. Again, if I can return the favor in some way, I would love the opportunity. Again, you have a dad that does woodwork, so knowledge-wise, I don't know much. I could, answer unless you have some really small, simple, silly question that you just feel embarrassed asking your dad about. Well, then yeah, I'm all ears. But eh, you know what? I talk too much. I talk too much. Shut up now. On the other hand, I'm the one streaming, so I should probably be talking. The conundrum. You're streaming, you're the streamer, you're the entertainment, so you should be talking about it. Then you feel like you talk too much and the whole thing just kind of upload. I do have pretty serious question. Okay. Um, um, let's see if I can answer it. With the current political status, serious questions could lead to serious consequences. I don't plan on visiting South America. How's your day going? Uh, the short answer is good. Pretty good. 4 out of 5. Kind of. The long answer is it depends. Um, depends on the metric, right? So I think I think the 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 most honest way I can answer this, the most honest way according to me, right? That's being neurospicy. That's kind of a requirement, right? Uh, the 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 day is is a is a um, long list of incidents where the final outcome, how is your day kind of thing, is not indicative of the actual day. So um, so that's how do I go from it depends to it's a 4 out of 5 pretty good day. Well, the way I got there is the following. I actually got to sleep today. I found parking that didn't require coins for parking. So that's really awesome. Like not having to worry about the fact that 12-hour parking expires and you have to move or you get a ticket. So I got to sleep it. So it's great. I woke up next to an absolutely gorgeous woman. Absolutely gorgeous. 10 out of 10. Um, and and so that's an upset. Like I don't think I know how I got this lucky, but so that was good. I have a fantastic breakfast: eggs, homemade pita bread with some ham. So nourishment on fire. And I got a coffee and whatnot. So I got to be low lazy. I got to fix a water leakage in with our washer. So that was good. So that's so far awesome. I have this, right? This RSI, I think you call it. And so that's problematic because I work with my hands, so that slows me down a lot. After I got to the shop today, it took me a hot second to get set up to stream, and so that's a bummer physically. And I still have a weather headache of some sort. So I'm assuming something is either coming or going. Either that or the volcanic fog is acting out. So headache, problematic. Again, I have to run big machines, so question. On the upside, I had a fantastic lunch, homemade uh, homemade yellow rice. I think it's jasmine or balsami rice, and homemade korma. So that was absolutely to die for. Homemade pita. I have masala tea. So yeah, I'm in that regards awesome. Um, this project is this specific cabinet, not the project, but this specific cabinet is driving me crazy, and I'm kind of over it and ready to move on to the next thing. So yeah, a little bit of a bummer. But on the other hand, I work in my own shop, doing what I love. So I'm not complaining here. The downside is I'm self-employed. My boss is an idiot. I don't get dental, so I'm just. Then I got the a big bump from you, which is first of all there's a conversation which makes the whole day a lot more pleasant because most days, especially recently, uh, if people buy, they don't say anything either because they don't have a YouTube account or they're just there for company or the ASMR or they log in, log out. Like I don't know how long people are staying, who stays. I haven't looked at the analytics. I was very good about the analytics in the beginning. So I'm having a lovely conversation and I actually got some information that was bugging. Again, ADHD brain says, certain information just is going to stick around for a while and then, every now and then surfaces and go like, hey, have you done fixed, considered working? So now I have this piece of information I can actually, start looking up. I can look up the numbers, I can look at the NPN thing, I can start looking into, wiring. Maybe I'll do an impulse buy and get myself a little bit of 12 or 22 gauge wire and a small light or something. I do have lights, but so there's this kind of things. I'm kind of worried about taxes. I have to do them. I just didn't have time to sit down, and that's due Tuesday. So I have to get it done by Monday. So probably tonight I'll sit down and make sure I have all the receipts for things. I have to do depreciation schedule, so that's on the back of my burner. The shop is a little bit of a mess, but okay, there's some optimization I need to do. There's a bunch of crap that's lying around and that I'm keeping for now, like cutoffs for plywood. That's still unaccounted for and will have to be dealt with. My wife, I promised my wife a basket that opens into a picnic table and then folds back into a basket. So that I have to do that. The problem with that is the half an inch plywood is right now I still need some more of it for the rest of the drawers for the projects. I'm kind of weighing my options. I did find cheap wood glue, or cheaper than expected wood glue, so I'm kind of happy about that. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Would do it again, Kendrick. I mean, the headache is a bummer, but otherwise. So that's the medium answer. I mean, you did ask me a serious question, unless this was kind of a serious question in jest. Neuro spicy means I don't always get all the social cues. Well, it's 9 second right now. It's what time is it? It's like 6:30, 6:40 p.m. That's not bad. Now is your day. You're all good. That reminds me of that joke. When I'm good, I'm very good. When I'm bad, I'm better. Right, I need to stand this so make a little bit of noise. Well, if you're in New York or like East Coast, then it's what, almost 1 o'clock in the morning for you. And then if you're in California, I think that's 3 hours the other side. That puts you at almost 10 p.m. Yeah. The only other place is Alaska, but that's still, you get closer to the California time than the Hawaii time. Again, okay. Again, I'm not trying to push information. If I figure I'll work on the assumption you're somewhere between New York and the California, not in Alaska or next island over. Again, your help is genuinely appreciated. Okay, thank you very much. Well, I hope we bump into each other at some other time, next time, I suppose. And again, I appreciate your help. And I'll be here. I'm mostly here almost every day. I stream almost every day, so I'm here. Whenever you're bored, pop in. Have a good night, and thank you again. And good luck on your big machine project. That's awesome. £600. Bye-bye. 600-pound machine into a basement over stairs. Yeah. So that, any of you have never seen one of those machines, should look it up. They look like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. I think the best description of it I can think of is, imagine a PhD, an electrical engineer with a tiny machine gun shooting at a piece of burned sand and going pop, 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 and then just burning it to the ground afterwards. Since they're awesome. Pick and place machines. I didn't know the term. Because since the person chatting is out, I'm gonna save my voice. Well, if I plug in the phone in before it runs out of juice. We have a charger here. I'm gonna kill battery on this phone, but I haven't figured out a better way to stream. At least mobile stream. Not mobile phone, but mobile as in mobile in the shop stream. It'd be nice to have 15 cameras set up all over the shop, but it's not happening just yet. So. Wire. Oh, we're down to 20%, so good timing. I still have the project off. I should probably start writing those projects down. Make a list. Let's make a list of projects. I don't know if I need it, right now. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I think I need to start writing those things down. Otherwise, I will forget or not remember, and then it's like sadness. Which notebook? Maybe this one. Or by the way, can I use this one? Or is this one used for something else? Okay, that's not used for anything important, so let's do it here. And where's my notes? Here. Add notes while we edit. Avoid the first page, like the plague. So, what we have? This is light. We called it the stack light. And then we have those numbers V3Z-R31 and V3F-VS30C4. And here. This is the project for dust collection sensor. That's a project we need to work on. Next project, the ACME lead screws, glass motors, glass control, or vices for the CNC table. That was the other project we needed to do. And then the third one is the concrete shaker. For the cyclone filter. That's the project. I'm gonna start adding things to it, one a page, and then we'll see how many we can go through. Oh, we need to put the name of the build CEO. We have the name of the person. Hey, you guys start doing this. This is going to. And today is what, the 12th. This is 4/12.
I know which part of YouTube I can look back to find the video. Just in case I missed a number. That goes there, that goes there. Good. Oof, that gets me excited. Is it as well spelled separately or together? As well. And the step list makes puzzle work somewhat difficult. Right. Oh, that's the last one. This is not done yet. Oh, and the drum center too. That's on my list. For that, I need to figure out if the two models I have are good enough. I mean, you got them for free, so if I burn them, it's okay. Just promise. If I burn them, then the whole construction goes out of the window. Get me excited about spending X number of hours building something and then going like, oh, the workbench with some dogs would be nice. Maybe we rebuild this eventually. Unpack the cabinets and use them for something else. Oh, I don't mind working on this side of the table. I like the back to the door, but what can do?
I should just rehome the chisels. I did that to the plane, and it's fantastic right now. All the little imperfections. Great pieces off nowadays. It's like this awesome. Hey. The doors. So now we need to cut them. So cut it. We have what sizes? 6, 8.5, and 15. 6.5 and 15 by 10 and 3/8, I think. 10 and 3/8. Start with the big thing. Right, so this see it better. I'm gonna put you over here. It's not locking in. There's not enough metal here to stabilize this. Stabilization the old-fashioned way. Which side we cut? Figure out which side is square. So double click this things to square. Yeah, this is still square. It's a little bit off this. It's almost perfect. Right. Maybe a little bit through this side. This side. And this follows this contour. Your region. Oh, no. It's orange.
close enough. Maybe. This is a square. Join them at the hip. Okay. 15 and a little bit, so we have our some wiggle room. That's good. How do I do this? So the back is square, and run into the problem. The reason why I don't want to square it after I glue it up is very simple. I square it after I glue it up, I'm squaring something that's at a right angle already. So I'm going to cut this. Good, and then remove some of this. We're going to do this. This is the side it's all messed up. Let's do this. Let's cut this flat. So I have one matching edge, then when I stick them together, I'll have one square thing I can reference for the rest of the things. This is 15 across the board, so 15 and this is 15. So here's the back. Put in it a little bit. A bit less though. Let's square. Oh, how do I explain that? And yes, the clean it up. Let's smell it and then wipe it off. Still can. And a light clamping pressure. Actually, in the spot. That's gonna be the first one. I think it looks pretty good. Dry overnight. Definitely overnight. And today I'm gonna keep the screen shorter. I'm feeling really off. My headache is just getting really bad. So I'm gonna hit my stomach. So that's it. Yeah, first. I didn't realize my mic was out. So I'm just saying I have a really bad headache, and I we glued up the, the doors, and we're going to clean them up tomorrow. But I'm not going to risk pushing through with a headache this bad. I can feel it behind my eye, my left eye, and that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow um, in better shape. Thank you for being here, and stay safe out there. Have a good night.